if we wait for self-driving cars to be made legal until we solve this problem, then I think the answer will be never.
I think we are at 99% today, and it's that last 1% that will be very difficult. And it's a brutal job. You're away from your family most of the time. He doesn't have a newborn in his belly, but it wasn't his mistake. He's just standing on the sidewalk. So you have a choice to make. Either you can swerve and kill this old man, or you can drive straight the way you were driving and kill this pregnant woman. Tesla just released FSD 12. They call it the full self-driving version 12. And I've been driving around Palo Alto finally without touching the wheel. And it's spooky, it's good, and it tells you about the future that we will have soon. Now, how soon will that be?
Viks, is that allowed and then in Palo Alto, in California, full self-driving?
Yeah, so now let me tell you a secret. You're supposed to put your hands on the wheel, but the way they detect it is that there's a scroll wheel on and on the scroll wheel, every 1 minute I do up and down. It's like literally the volume button. That's how they're detecting if my hands are on the wheel or not. And as long as I'm doing that, and I think they're doing it for regulatory reasons, but what is happening is that as a consumer, I'm starting to get confident that I can let it drive me. I'm just starting to be more confident in how it's driving. Another thing that I've realized over the last 4 to 6 years of existence in this world is the remaining 10% is the hardest. To do any enterprise, you can cover the first 90% fast enough, and then you have 10% remaining, right? Out of that 10, again, you can get to 9 very fast, but that 1 remains. And out of that 1, you can get to 0.9 very fast, and then the 0.1 remains. And out of that 0.1, you can get to 0.09 very fast, but the 0.01 remains. So I think self-driving depicts this very well, that I think we are at 99% today. And it's that last 1% that will be very difficult. But I'm very excited about self-driving.
Which part of that is the last 1%? What has not been done?
Sure. I was thinking about this, Mix, and I don't know how many of our viewers know about this philosophical question called the trolley problem. Say, for example, you're driving a car and you're put in a situation where there is a pregnant woman standing right in front of you. She came out of nowhere, okay? And you're driving at 70 miles an hour and you're going to hit her, you're going to kill her, and you're going to kill the child. But then you can also swerve. It was her mistake. She came out of the blue. She's trying to cross the highway, or she's trying to cross the road when it's green light, so you can hit her and kill her because there is no other way for you. But you can swerve and you can kill this old man. He's 80 years old, he's lived a good life. He doesn't have a newborn in his belly, but it wasn't his mistake. He's just standing on the sidewalk. So you have a choice to make. Either you can swerve and kill this old man, or you can drive straight the way you were driving and kill this pregnant woman. What happens with humans is that we see the world slow. For us, we don't have to make these choices. For us, we make a choice and it's so fast that the society is willing to live. Either we kill the old woman or we kill the pregnant woman. But for computers, because they see the world, for them, a second is eternity. They see a second in 60 frames. They see 60 pictures. And now they have to decide if they kill this pregnant woman or the old man. And how do you make these choices? And I'll encourage my viewers to think what choice they will make. And it's hard for software to make these choices, right? So I think the 1% that remains is coming up with how you're going to make these ethical choices, which humans don't actually even make. Like we make them very instinctually, right? Like I will make that choice. If you give me 10 such circumstances, 5 times I might kill the pregnant woman, 5 times I might kill the old man. But for a software, it has to be a choice that's written into the software. Do you use the utilitarian principle where you say there's more utility to this pregnant woman surviving with a child, and hence you decide not to kill her and swerve and kill the old man? Or do you use the principle of least culpability? Like I am going to do the least culpable thing. Is the pregnant woman's fault and she should die, right? So I think choices like this are difficult for the software to make, and as a society we have to make those choices, and we are getting very close, spookily close, and self-driving technology is something that will make its way into the real world. I saw some launches at the CES by trucking companies which are saying that they'll drive on long highways, trucks which are with self-driving capabilities. And I have friends in America who drive a truck 40-50 hours a week, and it's a brutal job. You're away from your family most of the time. You're sleeping in the truck, and I don't think we humans should be doing that job. Now, obviously, that brings up a lot of societal considerations about who should be doing this job if not humans. What will happen to these truck drivers when they don't have a job? But beyond the societal considerations, I think the human experience is to be enjoyed. It's not to sit in a truck and drive it for 50 hours a week. So I'm very excited about self-driving technology, and I don't think that 2024 is the year when suddenly everything goes self-driving, but I think we are inching closer to that last 1%.
I have one question on the point that you started about the problem that's kind of an ethical dilemma which a lot of these technologies need to solve for. So my question to you is what are you seeing as a trend? I mean, is there a kind of ethics panel which is helping solve these? Is it at a company level or at a state or the federal government level? Some guidelines are coming out in this. Who is really taking the lead on what the decisions should be? Or do you think that will emerge after certain solutions have been brought to market?
Yeah, no, I have not seen any industry-wide effort to come up with some solutions. What I am
But
seeing
there's
when
no right
I,
or wrong answer there, right?
yeah,
It's
no,
finally
there is
somebody's
a.
point of view.
Yeah, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. But when I have a coffee with my friends working on self-driving technology in Palo Alto, what I hear from them is that the society seems to be more comfortable with least culpability paradigm. So the society seems to be more comfortable with the old man on the side of the road just taking his afternoon stroll is the least culpable in this scenario, even though the self-driving car can make that decision, can actually make that calculation that when it comes to the theory of utility maximization, it's better to kill this old man and save this pregnant woman. But society seems to be more comfortable with the least culpable theory that this old man, the self-driving car should not kill him and should rather kill the pregnant woman. And the thing is that these calculations can be made very difficult to make. For example, instead of the pregnant woman, what if it's a nuclear bomb, which suddenly happens to be in the center of the road? Because, say, there's a truck carrying a nuclear bomb. I'm just making up this example. And now the self driving car, because 1 second for the computer can do trillions of calculations. It's not like our human brains anymore, which can do two or three calculations in a second. It can do trillions of calculations, and it has a choice to make. Does it run into the nuclear bomb and destroy half of the city, or does it kill this old man, right? And choices like this, which are implicit for human beings, which when I am driving, I don't even make those many calculations to decide. Something will happen and it would be left to a coin toss. But for self driving tech, it would be a choice that the self driving car would make, and the society will have to grapple with it.
Yes, and I have one again follow up question here. So you see a lot of vehicles. One of the kind of USPs that they at least sell for is that okay, I can go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 4 seconds or whatever. Why don't you see the same thing applying on the braking side of the vehicles as well? That I can stop from 60 to 0 in 2 seconds.
No, I think it's about marketing to men. Men get excited by how fast I can go in 0 to 60 in how many seconds, right? This is just what sells in the market. I think the engineering team might be spending a lot of time to make sure that these vehicles can brake fast enough. But I think that's more of what sells to humans.
Got it.
Mix, what was your top choice for technology this year?
Before we go to my top choice, I just wanted to share something. So, when I joined London Business School in 2008, we had the first week, which was almost like an orientation program. It had some classes, and one of the classes which everyone had to do compulsorily was called business ethics, the start of the business ethics course. One of the case studies back in 2008 was identical or nearly the same as this trolley program problem ethics problem that you said. So every time I think about self-driving cars, my brain goes back to 15 years ago, my first week at LBS, where we were discussing a whole 1 hour in a class of 50 or something 60 of us about the old man versus the lady with the kid. And of course we didn't reach any solution, as you would expect. The main takeaway from that class was it isn't an easy answer, and everyone has a different answer and a different logic. And to me, if I were to then codify, I don't think whatever society feels right about this is not something that can be put as an algorithm into a car, into a self-driving car. It cannot. And if we wait for self-driving cars to be made legal until we solve this problem, then I think the answer will be never.